All right, got interrupted there, but I think we are back now. Hopefully, this is working again. Yeah, I think this is kind of the peril of having your grill thermometer hooked up to by Bluetooth to your phone where you're going live. But all right, I'm live here in my backyard. Smoking some meats, and Priscilla went inside to get some work done. We were just hanging out for a while, and now we're at the part of the smoking where we're just kind of waiting for it to get up to temperature for a few hours. So I'm here, and I figured it would just be fun to see what everyone is doing and hanging out on the internet. So what's up? What are you guys all doing this afternoon? Eric Smith, hey. How's it going? Thanks for joining me and hanging out. Jesse, how are you doing, man? Haven't seen you in a while. Mike from Michigan. Yeah, I think the food is going to be delicious, but I have like probably 4 more hours on this to go before we get there. All right, so for those of you who are just joining me now, because my last stream I cut off by accident, I got some brisket going on this big offset smoker, which I got from this company in Oklahoma, Horizon Offset Smokers. They make great smokers. They take a lot of wood, so they're not quite as efficient as the green egg. But if you're willing to fuel it, you get an awesome smoky flavor from it. So that's what I got over on this side, and then on this side we got the big green egg, which for those of you guys who haven't heard of this thing, I really recommended it. It can keep a temperature for like many hours at a time. So when I set it to 225 on the grill to do some ribs, it'll probably stay there for 6 hours, and that's great, because I mean that's kind of what you want, 225 for 6 hours on the grill. All right, so. What are you guys all up to? Ryan Wesley Smith, what are we grilling? We are grilling some brisket, and we are grilling some ribs, and it's going to be delicious when it's ready. We're targeting having it ready in a few hours, but takes a while. But this is a fun thing to do over the weekend. This is like probably my favorite way to spend a Sunday is just hang out with family, wake up in the morning, do some endurance sports. Right, so I mean, this morning I woke up, I swam, a bit more than a mile, biked 36 miles, and then just hang out with family and grill and smoke meats and cook a big meal to eat with everyone. Brian Storm, do you what is your comment here? Do you drink beer? Yeah, I mean, some of the time. I'm not too frequently. I mostly work, and that works better without beer, but yeah, everyone likes that. Yeah, all right. What else is going on? Arik Chen, hey, from New York. How are you doing? How's New York doing? I miss New York. I grew up out there. It was great. Carlos Machado, try grilling pineapple for dessert. That is really good. Grilling pineapple is a good way to go. We kind of divide this up in the family where I do the meat, and Priscilla does everything else, all the vegetables, and it goes back a few years where I had this personal challenge, where I saw our chefs at Facebook cooked this really kind of delicious looking whole pig, and one of our employees passed by and just commented, that thing, I bet it's going to be really delicious, but I wish I just didn't have to see it whole. And that kind of bothered me. I felt like, if you eat meat, you should know where it comes from and appreciate it. So I did this challenge for a year where I was like, all right, I'm going to be mostly vegetarian, but I'm only going to eat meat if I'm involved in killing it and butchering it myself. And that meat, that year, one of the side effects of having a challenge where you're only eating meat if you're involved in hunting it or butchering it yourself. Hey, Priscilla, what's going on? Back inside, back from working?
Yep.
Anyhow, so yeah, do you want to join Grill Talk here? Or we're just hanging out? No, you don't want to join? Okay. Are you sure?
Maybe in a bit.
All right, in a second. Priscilla's shy of the camera. So anyway, one side effect of only eating things that you're involved in butchering and cooking is that you can't go out to a restaurant and order meat. So that year, I just got really into cooking meat in every different way. So grilling, smoking, sous videing, frying, oven, like anything that you could possibly want to do. And since then, we've kind of just divided it up that way, right? I'm gonna get you to be a part of this, even if you want to remain mostly off camera here.
Okay.
So,
what can I help?
well, we're talking about the breakdown of the cooking responsibilities in the family.
Yeah. You enjoy cooking the meat.
Can you guys hear Priscilla? Mary, yeah, grilled pineapple is delicious. I agree. Are you sure you don't want to join? From Priscilla's perspective, it's bad enough that she got sucked into just sitting out here with me while I grill all day. I only went live because you went inside to go do work.
Oh, I went to go get Max. She woke up.
Oh, cool. What is she up to?
She's gonna go to the park for a bit and then she'll come home.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's see. All right. So what are people wondering on the? This is awesome. So people from all over the world are tuning in here. All right.
The grill's holding temperature.
Lumi. Good to see you, Lumi. It's I think Max may stop by, but we'll see. She's a little camera shy these days. Courtney Aaron, what are the preparations that you do for the ribs and the brisket? I don't know. I like it pretty plain. I mean, so basically, mostly salt and pepper on the outside, and then you put it in the smoker. You try to keep it around 225. For the brisket, I think that'll probably take 8 hours. For the ribs, that'll probably take 6. So for the brisket, you probably flip it 4 times every couple of hours or so. For the ribs, flip it every hour and a half, but then you do the crutch, which is I think one of the secrets to making good tender ribs is you want to get the meat up to temperature, but then you want to keep it there and cook it to break down some of the fiber in the meat so it gets chewy without drying it out. So one of the ways that you could do that for the ribs is at about 3 hours into your 6 hours of smoking it, you put it in aluminum foil, and you can put some acidic liquid in, right? So Coca-Cola works, apple juice works. Those are probably the 2 main things that people try, and that makes it so that instead of drying out the liquids from the meat, it will that'll evaporate and it'll help break down the meat a little bit, and it gets really delicious. So I highly recommend that if you haven't tried that before and are into trying these things. And then, of course, once we get to the end, we'll do barbecue sauce. So you put that on for the last hour and kind of smoke that into the meat. It ends up being really good. All right, what is everyone else here doing on the internet today? Grilling banana, that could be good. All right, what else? This is yeah, I mean, a lot of people are commenting that they're surprised. Hey, there she is. Priscilla quickly passing through the back of the video. Very shy. Very shy.
You've got this.
Yeah.
What are people talking about? Grilling banana?
Yeah, I mean, all the delicious stuff. It's well, our new baby is making a cameo, even if Priscilla is not herself getting in there. Yeah, Courtney, it's delicious. This is good. Yeah. I like this. I was about to go to sleep, but then I saw you were grilling, and I stayed up to watch. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm glad to have you here. Shrep, what's up? I just saw Facebook CTO signed on, is tuning in and watching this. I mean, you live right up the street, so you can come by and eat some of this later. Yeah. So all right. So let's go through some of these comments. Marilyn Steckley. So I boiled my ribs for about 40 minutes. You can boil them, and that's more time efficient, and it ends up not taking as much time. But But I don't know. I think nothing beats smoking it if you can. Rehan, it's a girl. Our new daughter, hopefully coming sometime the next month and a half, and it's a second girl. So Max is gonna have a sister, which I just think is awesome because Priscilla and I both had a lot of sisters. I have 3 sisters growing up, no brothers. Priscilla had 2 sisters and no brothers, and so that was just a really special experience for my childhood. Was getting to have sisters, and when we were thinking about having another child, it's not like you have that strong of a preference on the gender. You just kind of want the child to be happy and healthy. But I was really happy that we're having another girl. That's it. Max is awesome so far. Maybe she'll stop by in a second. All right, what else are you guys up to? Yeah, Mark, I didn't know you could cook. I can cook. Yeah, no, but mostly meat. I'm the meat cook in the family. Yeah, Rehan. Yeah, we do have a name. We're a little superstitious, so we're not sharing that ahead of time. But we have our top pick for what the name is going to be, and we're pretty psyched about it. All right, Rinny Alfred. Yeah, time to sleep here in the UK. Thanks for tuning in. It's awesome that, this is one of the cool things about technology now is that, I can just be grilling in my backyard and have an hour and a half to kill while the meat's getting up to temperature, and I can talk with people all around the world. So thanks for stopping by, and have a good night. All right. Henri Rumen, did you know that barbecue is an old French word? I actually didn't know that. So you learn something new every day, and that's a lot of what is about going live here is that and talking to people is you're learning all the stuff. All right, so let's see. I'm just scrolling through some comments. All right. Yeah. No, a lot of awesome comments about families. Rayan, chicken tikka masala. Yeah, no, that's good. That might not fit with the genre of the food that we're cooking today, but that's pretty delicious. Oh, look. Max is going to quickly walk by in the background, but are you guys going to the park?
She's going, I'm not going.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, Dad's using the screen.
All right. What's up? Hey, Max. Hold on. I'm gonna go say hi to Max for a second. Hey, buddy. You guys going to the park?
Yeah, mine's still down.
I like your little stairs. Yeah.
Yeah,
You like that?
Your stroller back.
All right. Yeah. No.
Do you want to use this
That's.
stroller?
Max is confused because this live I don't have like a fancy stand for my phone or anything. I literally just propped the phone up on her stroller. So she came outside and was wondering what I was doing with her stroller. I was like, what is going on? That's my stroller. This is awesome. Just sitting and watching everyone's comments come in about their families and their children is awesome. All right. Enrico, almost getting ready to go to bed. Well, this won't be the last time that we grill in our backyard, so you can do that. Hey. Sorry, we got our family off. All right. Melissa Huffman, I would like to invite you and your family to Fort Worth, Texas. I actually went to Fort Worth earlier this year. All right, there we go. That's I was in Fort Worth earlier this year as part of the year of challenge, personal challenge that I'm doing this year. We have Facebook also has one of our big data centers there. We have a number of these big, huge buildings that basically they just act as machines. They have thousands and thousands of servers and computers in there, and that's what stores all of people's data, and helps serve Facebook to everyone. So we have a big one in Fort Worth. It's going to be one of the biggest ones that we have in the country. I think it took about 1,000 people, created about 1,000 jobs to go build it. Now that it's up and running, It's about 150 people full-time are running the operation. A lot of them are vets from the military here because, when you think about what the skills are that it takes to go stand up such an operation that's as complex as a data center, there aren't that many organizations in the world that stand up big centers like that need to be hardened so quickly. But the military is one of the places where people get the skills to do that. So we hire a lot of people out of there when they move out of the military. But Fort Worth is awesome. I actually, when I was there this year, I went to a rodeo, which was pretty crazy. That actually was my first rodeo, so that was a fun experience. I met some people there who were like legit cowboys who were riding on bulls, and I got to talk to them for a few minutes afterwards, and what they go through is just insane. I mean, they talked about how they'd basically broken like every bone in their body. One of them even, like, I guess a bull had stepped on his face at one point. He broke his face and had to get a bunch of titanium plates installed. So it's serious business, but delicious. It's we've kind of mostly gone through all the southern states. I did a road trip with Priscilla early in the year. We went through where was it? Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, and that's some awesome barbecue there, and North and South Carolina. I still need to hit up Kansas and Oklahoma. Those are two of the remaining states that I haven't been to yet that I hope to get to before the end of the year. This offset smoker, by the way, was made in Oklahoma. It's a great little company, Horizon, that makes this. I think is actually one of the smaller offset smokers that they make. I think they have it nicknamed the General, which is apt, given that it, when you carry it around in your backyard, it basically is like a tank. All right, what else is going on? All right. Oh, Justine. Oh, thank you. You're talking about my commencement address at Harvard. I appreciate that. I put a lot of time into that. That meant a lot to my parents. I promised my parents that one day I would go back and graduate from Harvard. So even though I didn't really graduate, but I got an honorary degree, which I guess is as good as I'm gonna do in my life. But yeah, no, I mean the themes that I talked about there. I mean a lot of that is based on what I've learned building Facebook and some of what I've seen traveling around the country this year, right? I mean, this idea that, a lot of commencements are just about how, you need to go find your own purpose. But I think where society is going overall, I mean, our big challenge isn't for you individually to go find your sense of purpose and what matters to you. It's how do we build a society overall where everyone has the opportunity to go and pursue their purpose and have a sense of purpose and meaning in their lives. And one of the things that I've just found by traveling around is there isn't always in as many places as much opportunity as there used to be. Right? You go around now, if you look at, I visited a lot of rural places and I visited a lot of urban places that I hadn't been to before. And if you go back 30 or 40 years in this country, there was a lot of opportunity in both, almost equal, right? I mean, you could grow up, you could move to a city, you'd have some opportunity there, or you could stay in a rural environment. There was a lot of opportunity there. There were factories, a lot of farming was booming and growing quickly, and now, one of the big interesting themes is that, a lot of people who are living in rural places, at least report and tell me that they're feeling like there isn't as much opportunity as there used to be. So, if we want to build a society where everyone has the opportunity to pursue something that is meaningful and purposeful to them, I think in our generation we're going to have to craft a new social contract. This is something that every generation has basically done. Previous generations fought for things like the vote and civil rights and the New Deal as kind of a new economic safety net for people, and I think it's just a matter of time before our generation kind of decides on what our social contract is going to be. And I think that as I've traveled around, one of the things that I've just seen is our generation especially just cares a lot about making sure that everyone has the opportunity to pursue what is meaningful to them. So, I don't know, it's been interesting. I'm curious to hear from folks who are watching this, what your experience is, especially if you live in a rural place or in one of these in one of the states that I've visited. If you think I've missed something in what I've tried to write about, and each time I go to one of these places, I don't write about every place that I go to. I probably write about half of them, just because it takes a while to write. But I've tried to share some of my experiences as I've traveled around. All right, so what else is going on here? Good evening from Scotland, James. Yeah, hey, glad to have you with us, hanging out in our backyard here from Scotland. All right. Yeah, no, nothing beats traveling, Luella. That's right. Ime, just saw you. You're watching. What's going on? How are you doing this weekend? All right. May from Malta. Yeah, grilling is fun. Karen in Arkansas. Yeah, Arkansas is a great place. I visited a couple of years ago and spent a few days there. Philip Hoffman, when am I coming to London? I don't know, probably sometime in the next, next couple of years. I have no trip planned there right now, but I go to Europe almost every year. There's a lot of stuff there for us, and a lot of communities to meet with for Facebook. This year I've focused a bit more on traveling around the U.S., kind of trying to figure out, learn about different communities here that I wouldn't normally get as much exposure to, just living in California. But I'll definitely get to Europe and Asia in the next year or so. Rehan, is my year of travel U.S. or global? My personal challenge this year is to go visit each of the states that I haven't been to before. So that's going to be about 30 of the 50 U.S. states, and I'm about 23 states done. I had to move some of that up in the year once Priscilla and I figured out that we were having another baby this in a couple of months. So I'll be in Palo Alto for a while. Really looking forward to that. All right, what is going on? Yeah, all right. So, Vicki Johnson, from Homer, Alaska. Oh, you're from Homer. That's great. Homer's beautiful. I mean, Alaska's beautiful. I can't believe I haven't been there until this year. It's. I wrote this long post there, but one of the things that struck me is the way that Alaska has structured some of their safety net, right? So, one of the big things that some people like to talk about is this idea of a guaranteed income or basic income, and one of the things that I found interesting is Alaska actually has that in a couple of ways. So, they established this thing a while back where, when the state sold rights to companies to drill for oil, they took some of that revenue and they basically just give it to all the Alaskan citizens as a dividend. Right, so it's not the way that most people think about building a safety net, where most people think that you'll increase taxes to do that. And I think that probably to some degree we need to do. But the Alaskan experience is just interesting, just seeing what's worked there for a while. They also, I've gone, as I've traveled around, I've gone to a few different Native American reservations in different places, and the Alaskan system for the Alaskan Natives is also quite different from around the rest of the country, in that they actually have these corporations they call native corporations that own the land, and that they also develop the land, and when they make revenue from the land, they give that back to Alaska Natives as a dividend as well. So there's a lot of kind of that whole structure and different ways of thinking about the safety net in Alaska that I don't know that it necessarily makes sense for the rest of the country to do it in that way. and certainly there are a lot of different ways to think about building a safety net, but one of the things that I do feel strongly about, and that I know a lot of people in my generation agree with, is that we really want to give everyone the opportunity to go pursue what matters to them and to go make a big difference, right? I mean, I was, when I wrote my Harvard commencement this year, I was, really, one of the things that I tried to be really clear about is, you don't get to be successful like this just by, being hardworking, right, or having a good idea. You have to get lucky in today's society in order for that to happen. And, that I think is a huge issue because, right now, when there are all these people who don't have the opportunity to go pursue their dreams or go build a new business, we all lose for that, right? If you, who are watching this, had more opportunity to go build something that would be a historic business or enterprise that could serve people all around the world, that would improve the economy and give services to all of us that we could all benefit from. So, I think that in our generation, we've kind of realized that, making sure that we invest in the safety net to give everyone that opportunity to go build, what matters to them and explore new ideas is actually how we're going to make the most progress and improve everyone's lives, not just in the U.S. but around the world. All right, so what else are we wondering about here? All right, Lucy Chung asking about kids. Your kids are entering middle school. Congratulations on making it that far. I look forward to that one day. And you're asking about the tech curriculum and what ideas to get public school standards caught up to technology now. I can tell you what we're working on, right? So Priscilla and I run this philanthropic organization, the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, where we've committed to giving 99% of all of our Facebook shares and wealth to giving them away, right, to different causes, focused first on education and science, and some areas of policy advocacy, and in education, what we're working on is mostly around personalized learning, and it's this idea that all students learn in different ways and at different paces, right? So if you just get math intuitively, but you have to sit through a lot of lectures, then maybe that's not the most engaging thing for you, and you're not learning as much as you could. But at the same time, maybe it's harder for you to learn math, or harder for you to get history. Then if the lecture's just going at a normal pace, you might get left behind. And once you start falling behind, then it's really hard to catch up and ever gain a mastery of the subject. So one of the things that personalized learning does is helps people learn at their own pace. It also lets you learn based on whatever kind of content makes sense for you. So if you learn best by watching a video or by playing a game, right, that has practice problems, which especially we're seeing a lot in that in math, or by doing practice problems with other students, or by getting tutored by a teacher, you want to have a school system that makes it so that you can get the kind of content and curriculum that matches to how you want to learn. And so we started building these tools, the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, in partnership with this organization called Summit Public Schools. It's one of the great personalized learning organizations, and when we started working together, I said to the founder of Summit Public Schools, I'm really excited about helping you build this technology and these tools to make these schools better, but I just have one term, which is that whatever we build together needs to be available to every school in the country. And she said, of course, yeah, we want to spread this model. It seems to be working really well. And we've been working on it for about 3 years. And, in the first year, I think it was about 20 new schools adopted the model. So all kinds of schools, district schools, charter schools, private schools, all different kinds. And then in the second year, about 100 new schools signed on. And I think we're about to start our third year, and there are a lot more schools signing on now. So it's that's exciting and promising. And I think that personalized learning, giving teachers the power to teach students in the way that they want, and to be more of a coach for the students and do what they really want to do, is really going to be an important trend in education over the next 10 or 15 years. All right. Okay. So there's a bunch of questions about some other work that we're doing here. Lorna is asking about cystic fibrosis, and one of the things that Priscilla and I have been really focused on is this idea that it should be possible to cure, prevent, and manage all diseases within our children's lifetimes. Right? It's not going to happen in the next 5 or 10 or 15 years, but when you think about the pace at which science is accelerating and all the technological progress that's getting made, it really should be possible to make significant progress on the most of or all of the things that affect people today and that people die from, right? So whether that's cancer or neurodegenerative diseases or heart diseases or infectious diseases all around the world. And one of the reasons why I'm so focused on this and why I care a lot about it is you hear a lot in the social debates of today around healthcare, and I think it's really important that we serve every person and that every person has the healthcare they need. But one of the big issues in doing this is that it's really expensive today because we don't have cures and preventions for all these diseases. So if you're looking out 20 or 30 or 40 years as to how do we really provide every person in our society with the healthcare that they need, and with a system overall that just keeps people healthy so that they don't even need to seek healthcare as often, I think the real answer there is investing in disease now. So it's one of the things that I think is fascinating, is that as a society we spend only about 1/50th as much trying to cure and prevent diseases as we spend treating people who are sick. And I personally think that if we invested more in organizations like the NIH and around the world, great organizations that are doing this kind of research, if we just invested more in that, then I think we could accelerate those cures and preventions and bring them in a little bit sooner, which not only will increase the quality of care that people get, but it'll make it more affordable for our country and countries around the world to pay for. This stuff has the property where how expensive the healthcare system is depends on how much people are getting sick. And if you can catch this stuff sooner and cure people more easily, then it's actually going to be more affordable, and we'll be able to increase the quality for everyone. But it starts with making those long-term science investments. One of my favorite quotes that I think is attributed to Bill Gates is that we always overestimate what we can get done in 2 years, and we underestimate what we can get done in 10 years. Right? So people spend all this time arguing about and focusing on sometimes pretty marginal changes to things that you're trying to get done in the next 6 months or a year or 2 years. And I guess I shouldn't be so dismissive of that, because there are of course some really big things that you can do that are really important, that can be either really good or really bad. But I always believe that if you really want to improve things for your children and really improve things down the line, you should focus not on things that are going to come to fruition in a year, but focus on things that will take 5 or 10 years to build, because fewer people are focused on those. So your effort on those is going to be more special and differentiated and unique, and you're going to get more leverage from doing that. And you're probably going to be able to help solve something that ends up making a bigger difference than if you're just focused on the near term. All right. So let's see. So a bunch of interesting questions. Alex Clocus, when it comes to charitable giving, what do you think about movements like effective altruism and orgs like GiveWell? I think that the notion of effective altruism is generally very important, right? It's, I think when you are lucky enough to have made a lot of money, you have a responsibility to use it for the things that are going to create the most good for the most people around the world. And I think today a lot of people give to philanthropy and to charity, and a lot of people give to things that are personal interests of theirs. And that's not necessarily bad, because when something's a personal interest of yours, you tend to know more about it and you can probably give a little bit more effectively. But I also think that there's a real place, especially for people who have a lot of money that they need to give philanthropically, you want to make sure that you're running it like an effective organization, like a company, right? Not just at your whims, giving to things that that you think are good. And that's why we run the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative like it's a real like it's a real professionally managed company. We hired some of the best people in education and in science and in advocacy and technology to build out those organizations. I mean, on education, we have Jim Shelton. I mean, he was a really senior person in the Department of Education in the Obama administration, and really helpful there. Corey Bargman runs the Science Initiative. She's hold on a second. I think our grill is
I'll check that out.
yeah. All right. Let's we got to get it back to a good temperature. I'm gonna call a timeout here, and I'll be with you in a second. What's going on? I got it.
Before this, can you check the chart?
All right, this break is gonna take a few minutes while I get the charcoal fuel back on. Well, oh wait, so it dropped a lot of temps, is that right?
Yeah, I think it needs more time.
It says is this the batteries? Is that the problem?
No.
You sure?
No.
Why do you think it It's 221 is what it says, which shouldn't be a bad.
It's low. Didn't you set it firmer?
No, 221 is good.
Well, can't you just mute the beeping then?
All right. I am probably going to lose you when I go to do this. But let me see if I can do this. 1 second. All right. Thanks for hanging out. Sorry for the brief interruption there. We're back. All right. The grill temperature has been regulated. All right. I forgot what we were talking about. Don't block the Wi-Fi signal. All right. Yeah, so we're grilling here for people who are just tuning in. We've got some ribs on the big green egg, which, yeah, Paul Baroud. Good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in a while. The Fred steak is delicious. There's this little meat shop in Palo Alto that makes this special recipe Fred steak, which is just delicious. And on this big offset smoker, the General here, we are cooking enough brisket to feed a lot of people. We should probably actually check it out in a second. Let's see, what time is it?
4:30.
4:30. All right. Larry Summy, nah, grilling is delicious. Everyone likes grilling. All right. So what else what else are you guys up to on the internet today? Joe Torres in Virginia Beach just finished grilling for your birthday. Happy birthday. Doug Kim, how's it going, man? Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, Game of Thrones later. Yeah, that is what this all leads up to. This is like a good Sunday. Wake up in the morning, do some endurance sports, hang out with the family, grill, sit around, hang out, have friends over to eat everything that you grill. Gives you a good reason to cook a lot of food. Brad, I love grilling and Game of Thrones. Will you adopt me? I don't know. I think we have enough. We have our hands full, but I'm glad that we share those interests. Let's see. Jack Phelps. I'm touching the screen because I'm scrolling through the comments. All right. Well, what do you think? Should we go check out what we're grilling? Would that be the... Grilling is awesome. I appreciate. I'm in Santana Castro. I don't have the patience to smoke my food, but here in Texas, there's always someone available to grill. Yeah, that has been one of my favorite parts of traveling through, not just Texas, but a lot of the southern states this year. Is the food is just amazing. Let's see. Susan Chapel. I'm sure your brisket's tasty, but where are the veggies? That stuff is good. That doesn't take quite as long to cook. And I'm not. I'm the meat chef in this family. All right. Vincent Marcus, Texas barbecue is amazing. Is that the getting a lot more Texas barbecue love on this stream than a lot of the other states that I visited that are also really good. All right, let's go check out what we're grilling. What do you say? I'm going to pick this up for a second. Oops. Oh, hold on a second. I need to swap something out. One moment. All right, we're back. Okay. All right. Yeah. So this is the green egg, and so this thing is really good and trusty. It can basically keep a temperature. You can see it's like perfect. It's right there at around 225. Yeah. Let's check this out. Yeah. The bottom of the ribs. There you go. That's going to be just really, really good. They're well on their way to being delicious. And then, all right, then we got this. The Horizon Smokers. Made in Oklahoma. It's one of my favorite products. And, okay, let's check this out. We got our brisket in here. Look at that. 2 briskets. Delicious. Uh-oh, hold on a second. I just knocked this loose. Gotta make sure the thermometer is in. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, yeah. Delicious briskets. There we go. Okay. Let's see. What's going on here? All right. Let's go. All right. In Madeira. Susanna. Madeira Island, Cristiano Ronaldo's birthplace. I did not know that. But I'm glad that you were joining from there. Franco Astral. How beautiful this barbecue. Must be a delight. Beautiful engineering. Yeah, now this is, these things are, the green egg and the general offset smoker are works of art here. All right. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out with me while I'm out here. Just get my meat up to temperature. What are we grilling? We're making some brisket and some ribs. Hello from Colombia, Dario. Yeah, thank you for tuning in over here. Ron Wholesomes, I appreciate what you do. I started a hospital in Kenya. That's awesome. Where in Kenya? I visited there. I think that was last year. It was amazing. We went. We're running. Facebook has this program that we're working on, internet.org, to help spread, help make sure that everyone around the world has access to the internet. One of the things that's always blows my mind that more than half of people in the world don't have access to the internet at all, and it's that just strikes me as one of the really profound inequities that need to get adjusted, because if you don't have access to the internet, and for a lot of people that's how they get access to education materials that they need. If they have a question about health for their family, but they don't have access to a good doctor, there's no good doctor nearby, they look online, and of course communication tools, ability to find jobs, all that's really important. So yeah, so we have these programs running around the world. I think it's in almost 60 countries, maybe more at this point, and we've helped more than 50 million people get access to the internet who didn't have access to the internet before, and that's one of the things that I'm really proud of that we're working on. But I was in Kenya last year to meet with some partners there who we're working on this with, and the economy there is amazing. I mean, they have some of the technology that they have around payments on phones with M-Pesa is many years ahead of what the rest of the world has. So it was really neat to see some of the entrepreneurs there who are doing awesome stuff. Oh, there we go. Khmer, good morning from Siem Reap, Angkor Wat, Cambodia. I went there with Priscilla in, I think, 10 years ago. I think it was 2007. That was one of our first trips together outside of the country, and Angkor Wat is an amazing place. I highly recommend checking that out if you're thinking about a place to go travel. All right. Well, let's see. Brenda Dodd-Smith Swindle. Great to see you grilling at home. Well, thank you for hanging out with me while I'm doing this. It is, I love grilling, and thank you for social media where we can share our lives with family and friends. Have a blessed weekend from Boaz, Alabama. Thank you. That's a really sweet comment. Nicole Bricker. What kind of device are you using? And do you realize you're putting your fingers in front of the camera? You are silly. This is like my little version of mean tweets here. I'm using a Samsung Galaxy S8. I kind of rotate between iPhone and Android to just get a sense of what people all around the world are using. I've been using this Galaxy S8 for a little while now. It's a great phone. The folks at Samsung make great devices. I love that the screen's a bit bigger than the iPhone screen, and there are a bunch of things that I really like about Android. For example, when I'm using Messenger on here, we get these chat heads, which a lot of you probably know because you're on Android. There are many more people who use Android around the world than iPhone. But I just love the experience with the chat heads on messaging. I think it just makes messaging so much more personal and fun to interact with people. I also think that the way that notifications work on this is really nice. It's a little less interruptive than iPhone, so I feel like it doesn't kind of break my attention. But they're both good. The iPhone is obviously a great device as well. But yeah, no, the reason why I keep on putting my finger in front of the comments is because I don't have some fancy setup here. I literally just have my phone, and I'm looking at the screen, and I'm using the front-facing camera. Hi, this is that's the camera right in front of me. So when I go scroll through the comments, my hand goes a little bit in front of the camera, and it gets blurred out for a second. But this is a great phone. If anyone is in the market thinking about what to get, I'm having a good time using this one so far. All right. All right, let's see. Scott Townend. I watched a recent interview with Elon Musk, and his largest fear for future was AI. What are your thoughts on AI and how it could affect the world? I have pretty strong opinions on this. I'm really optimistic. Right? I'm an optimistic person in general. I think you can build things and the world gets better. But with AI especially, I'm really optimistic. And I think that people who are naysayers and kind of try to drum up these doomsday scenarios are I don't understand it. I think it's really negative, and in some ways I actually think it's pretty irresponsible, because in the next 5 to 10 years, AI is going to deliver so many improvements in the quality of our lives. If you think about just safety and health and keeping people safe, AI is already helping us basically diagnose diseases better, match up drugs with people depending on what they're sick, so that way they can get treated better. So it's going to help a whole lot of people get treated and get better health care than would have had access to it before. If you look at self-driving cars, they're going to be safer than people driving cars. That's only a matter of time. And one of the top causes of death for people is car accidents still. And if you could eliminate that with AI, that is going to be just a dramatic improvement in people's lives. So, whenever I hear people saying, "Oh, AI is gonna hurt people in the future," I think, yeah, technology can generally always be used for good and bad, and you need to be careful about how you build it. And you need to be careful about what you build and how it's going to be used. But people who are arguing for slowing down the process of building AI, I just find that really questionable, right? I have a hard time wrapping my head around that, because if you're arguing against AI, then you're arguing against safer cars that aren't going to have accidents, and you're arguing against being able to better diagnose people when they're sick. And I just don't see how in good conscience of some people can do that. So I'm just much more optimistic on this in general than probably a lot of folks are.
Hey Mark.
What's up?
Is the last temperature correct, the ambient temp?
Yeah.
It's only at 199.
Okay, here. I'm going to take a break and try to get this grill up to a higher temperature. Give me a minute. I'll be right back. I got it. Beast. You wanna? All right. Okay. All right. That was just a quick break. Thanks for hanging out. Well, I just had to put some more charcoal in this general offset smoker. This guy eats a lot of charcoal and wood, but it's delicious. Actually, well, now before we get started again, I'm gonna make sure it has enough wood to get some good smoky flavor on. All right. Okay, now I think we're back for a little while. All right, thanks for hanging out with me. Here, my hands are all charcoaly now. Bonita Telford, when are you visiting West Palm Beach, Florida? My grandparents actually live near there, so I've spent a lot of time down there, especially growing up. It was always awesome going down and visiting them. All right, here, let's play with some cool stuff here for a second. So one of the hold on. What are these different? What is this? I like that you can filter this. That's a little dramatic. All right, we'll go back. That's awesome. All right. M.A. Brewer-Whitson, found your optimistic opinion on self-driving cars being safer to be a bit encouraging. You're inspiring to this gal. Look, I mean, I really believe that we can build technology today that can improve people's lives in the future. And it's not just, the apps and things that we build now that we can roll out in the next 6 months. It's I think that if you look at really deep issues in society, I think one of the ways that we've always made economic progress is by building new tools, right? Whether that was to make farming better, and there's a lot there, or all kinds of different things. And if you look at the problem of health, I think both in terms of being able to cure diseases, being able to prevent them from happening in the first place, from being able to prevent harm from happening to people from car accidents and other accidents and violence. I think we're not only going to make it so that people have live healthier and safer lives over time, but we're going to make it a lot more affordable. And that's a really big deal, because right now when you look at what's going on in the country, I mean, one of the big issues in the healthcare debate is that everything just costs so much. And long term, one of the big things that needs to happen is that this needs to all be made more efficient and affordable so everyone can get good healthcare. And I think that one of the ways that you do that is through working on things like AI. That's certainly not going to be the only answer. There are limits to how far that can go. You're going to need scientists and a lot of other talented folks working on this as well to find those cures and then bring them out to the world. But I don't know. I'm fundamentally an optimist. I think that we can lay the foundation today for a lot of things that 10, 20 years in the future are going to be a lot better than they are now. All right, let's see. What else are people? What else is going on here? Simon Show. Let's see. Most successful entrepreneurs talk about difficult downs. However, it seems like you never had them. Is that true? For example, your friends at Harvard. No, I had real problems, especially early on. I told the story during Harvard commencement, which was that we went through this period early on. I just didn't do a good job of explaining to people at the company what we were trying to do, what our mission was and what our purpose was and what we were trying to do. So we got to this point where even though the company was doing fine, like everyone in the company thought that we should sell the company and give up on trying to build our own thing and trying to connect more people around the world. And it got so contentious that in 2006, after I decided not to sell the company, in the next year and a half, every single person on our management team left. And I mean, that's just crazy. I mean, some of them left on their own because the relationships just weren't good. Some of them I had to fire and rebuild the team. But I mean, just think about that. You're trying to build this company. We had more than, I think it was about 10 million people were using the product at the time, and the whole management team of the company left. Right, and didn't want to continue building the company. They wanted to sell the company. So, I mean, that was really traumatic. And I mean, at the time, I was 22 or 23 years old, so I didn't have a lot of experience running a company, and that was a really hard time emotionally. Right, I mean, I just went through this whole thing where I just I felt like, okay, I'm this kid. Right, like I don't know anything about running a company. I mean, maybe all these people who think we should sell the company and give up on this dream of trying to connect everyone around the world, maybe they're right. But I really cared about what we were doing, so I hung on, and that of course ended up being the right thing to do. But that was a really hard situation. And then you asked about some of the other stuff. There were a bunch of comments and things that people ask about relating to what I did at Harvard and that Social Network movie that came out. It's really surprising to me how much to this day people actually think that what is in that movie is real. I think that's a pretty crazy thing to me. There were a lot of real things that went into building Facebook, but the stuff that was in that movie basically is not really a good depiction of anything that happened there. Neither accurate nor was that like a big part of what starting the company was all about. So it's just very interesting to me now. I mean, I think the movie came out in 2010, and here we are, 7 years later, and that's still a lot of people's image of what the company is and how it got started was that. So that's kind of disappointing, but that's okay. I think over time that won't matter that much. All right. Kamau Wa Njugu. Do you think we can resolve the healthcare crisis with technology and devices that can monitor blood pressure and making chats? I mean, look, I think that healthcare is really complicated and science is really complicated and people suffer from a lot of different things. So it's not one single advance that is going to help out here. There are lots of different things that we need to do to advance the field of science and make progress on heart disease and cancer and neurodegenerative diseases and infectious diseases, make it so people don't get into car accidents and don't harm themselves, that there isn't violence, work on mental health. There are all these different facets of that. And so, yeah, I mean, I think better monitoring of people, right? I mean, making it so that you have probes or have better sense of what's going on in your body. I think we'll get that in the future. It's one of the things that's kind of crazy. You think about driving a car. Think about how well instrumented a car is. There are hundreds of probes measuring every single system, yet we have nothing like that for our body to know when something is going wrong. So, do I think that's going to change in the future? Yeah. I mean, I think we'll want that to give us early warnings. And, how you build that technology, I think, is going to be tricky because, any kind of probe that's going to be in your body is going to be, is obviously there's a lot of sensitivity and complexity around designing that. So it doesn't end up being causing issues inside your body. But yeah, that's one thing that's good. But then, once you know what's going on, you still need to go and treat the diseases and be able to prevent them in the first place. So this is a long process. I think we will likely be working on this mission of helping to cure and prevent diseases for many decades to come. So there's a lot to do there. All right. Well, anyhow, for those of you who are tuning in, we're talking about some bigger issues like curing and preventing diseases, but we're also just grilling. So now we're here in my backyard in Palo Alto. We've got the general offset smoker. I've got a couple of briskets going on that. And then over here on the big green egg, I have a couple of racks of baby back ribs, which are going to be delicious. And we're I think maybe 3-4 hours away from eating them, and I'm looking forward to that. All right. So what else is going on? What are you? This is one of the reasons why I love doing this. I'm sitting out here. I'm waiting for the meat to get up to temperature, and it's really fun to just see people around the world tune in and hear what you're thinking about and answer your questions. All right. Let's see. Gene Clark ribs, my favorite. Yeah, I think I think ribs are probably my favorite too. All right, let's see what else. Rob, can you initiate a project to help us have free access to the internet? We're actually working on this. We at Facebook, we've created this program, internet.org, and over the last few years, we've helped more than 50 million people get access to the internet. So it's one of the most successful connectivity programs I think that anyone has ever tried, and it's live, I think, in about 60 countries now. And it's more than 50 million people. So there's a lot more to do there, because there are more than 3 billion people who don't have access to the internet. But that's a pretty good one. I'm excited about that, and hopefully we'll bring it to wherever you are soon. Although, given that you're on this thread, I think it's pretty clear that you're on the internet. All right. Sherry Keslow Giffo. We used a smoker today also, 100-pound pig. The guys watched it cook all night long. Smoking a whole pig is really delicious. That is a great thing to do. That takes a little bit long. All right. Let's see. Okay, I'm just reading a bunch of the comments here. Okay. Sarah Taylor. Mark, you mentioned cancer, but there are some cures for some cancers, but the government won't fund them, whether here in the UK or abroad. In general, I think that we don't spend enough on researching cures and preventions for diseases. Today, we spend more than 50 times as much treating people who are sick as we spend trying to find cures so people don't get sick in the first place. And, if you believed that everyone was always just eventually going to get sick, then I don't know, maybe you'd want to put almost all your resources towards just treating people and trying to do the best that you can. But in a world where technological and scientific progress are just increasing at such a fast rate, and we're able to cure more things every decade than we were before, I think that there's a really good argument for putting more of our resources and investment into trying to do research and try to cure more diseases today, rather than just only investing in treatment. So yeah, there's a lot more that I think we should be doing that we're not doing today. All right. Okay. Let's see. Harsh Sika. I'm in Harvard's Intro to Cancer class. The issue with cancer is also that it's not really a single pathology. It requires a distributed approach to understanding and tackling the various oncogenes. Yeah, that's right. I don't think that this focus on trying to cure and prevent all diseases it's not, there are lots of different diseases, and even within the big buckets, right? So you have heart disease and you have neurodegenerative diseases and cancers and infectious diseases. There are lots of different ones that are going to need different approaches. There are going to be some things in common. Right, so some of the technology and approaches that we're going to be able to use are going to apply to helping with a lot of them. So, for example, you think about the CRISPR and gene editing research that's been done recently. I mean, certainly that's going to help out with a lot of different therapies and different solutions. But yeah, it's this is a big problem. This is why I don't think we should expect that it's going to get solved in a couple of years. It's going to take decades, many decades. It's not going to be done in 10 years or probably 20, but I do believe that if you look out 50, 60 years, we should be able to make a huge amount of progress on that. But that's only going to happen if we invest the right amount in it now. So that's why I'm so focused on that. All right, let's see. Mahmoud from Guinea in West Africa. Strongly encourage you regarding your effort to expanding internet and making it more affordable. Thanks. Yeah, no, we have a lot more to do. We're actually live with the Internet.org program in the majority of African countries at this point, but there's still a lot of people who don't have access to the internet, so there's a lot more work to do there. Heidi Esquerez, you're smoking a 100-pound pig. Us Filipinos, we roast it, turning it around on live charcoal. No, I was actually just reading a comment about someone else who is smoking a pig, who's sharing their experience with me as I'm smoking a brisket and ribs. So at least the ribs come from a pig, so that's part of it. But no, I'm just smoking some pieces here. All right, let's see. Just reading the comments. All right, Jacob Aldridge. Would it be beneficial to allow people to let Facebook fold proteins like SETI at home used to? Or that way we could use our hardware, like our phones and computers, for distributed problem solving. I think you probably could do something like that, although rather than just having it work in the background of Facebook, I think you'd probably want a separate app for that. And there are different approaches that do distributed computing on protein foldings, trying to understand how the proteins fit together and how to best produce different enzymes and different things in the body. But these days I think a lot more can be done with a dedicated effort of 10 or 20 really good engineers, especially focused on all the advances that are happening in AI, focusing on trying to solve a scientific problem. So that's part of what we're trying to do with the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. We're building this really good engineering team to go work on social change problems, right? So often you can get a lot of really good engineers to go build a company, right? So to work on something like Facebook or Google. But if you want to get a lot of really good world-class engineers to go work on education or science problems, that ends up being a lot harder. So that's what the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative is trying to do, and we are focused on that problem. All right, let's look through some more questions here. All right. Ricardo from Brazil. Rio. What's up? All right. I think we've been doing this for a while. How long has this been for? What's up? I think it might be time to wrap up in a second. Let's see. Oh yeah, we've been going at this for a while, a little more than an hour. What time is it?
It's 5:15, and this is only at 189. You know that, right?
Priscilla just came out and informed me that I've been neglecting the grill and it is not at the right temperature. So give me a moment. I have to go take care of that.
Just...
What's going on? Yeah, no, I think we're doing fine. I think it's just. Let's see.
It is low.
Yeah. So wait. So what you said was 5 something?
5:15.
Okay.
And they.
Oh, we should probably. I should go do the crutch on
Yeah,
this.
one brisket is at 178. One is at 164. So we probably need to get it actually hot.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna be a few minutes here while we get these grills back up to temperature. Okay.
You probably need to cook this one, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Are you using charcoal?
No.
Why are you calling it?
Do you want more charcoal in that, or do you
No, we
think
don't.
that? Okay. I'm gonna go get the aluminum foil and the Coca-Cola.
The aluminum foil's there.
Okay. All right, it is time for one of the most important things that you can do when you're grilling, when you're barbecuing ribs, is the crutch. So we're about 3 hours in, and around 3 hours in, what we do is the ribs are getting there in terms of being cooked, and you don't want them to dry out. So, but you do want to continue to break down some of the collagen and different things in there. So we're going to take it out. And we're going to wrap it in aluminum foil and put some Coca-Cola in there is what I use to kind of keep it moist as it continues cooking. All right. All right. So for those who are still on the live stream watching us tune our grill, we're going to crutch the ribs. So what that means is I'm basically going to put this Coca-Cola and wrap it up in aluminum foil and throw it back on the smoker.
Put some more in.
Some more charcoal?
Yeah, I don't know. I would just want to make sure the temperature is
In general, stays at a good temperature. Alright. One in. And okay, this one is the one that I put the experimental rub on.
You put it on the rib?
Do you not want on the rib?
I feel like there's more brisket, so it's better to experiment first.
Coca-Cola on the ribs.
Mark, this is not a Coca-Cola advertisement.
Probably the only time that I actually use Coca-Cola. Do you take offense to my use of Coca-Cola? You want me to be an equal opportunity soft drink? Talk about Pepsi. You have to make sure it's cupped. This is like a key part of the cook. Because you're trapping all this moisture in there from the Coca-Cola. Alright, the crutch has been completed successfully. Do you want the excess Coke? I don't either. Alright. And back to the live stream.
I think you could wrap it.
Yeah, I think I will. What are you up to?
Just...
Alright, I think we're wrapping up this live stream now. Alright. Hello from Scotland. Let's see. Barbara, did I ask Priscilla if I could talk to us on Facebook Live while you were grilling dinner? Well, we were just hanging out here before, and then she went inside to work, so I decided to just see what was going on the internet. All right, I should wrap up. We've been doing this for like more than an hour at this point, and our grills are in good shape. This is going to be delicious. We can do one final check. I'll show you guys where we are on the on how we're doing on these briskets before we sign off. Just the general. Look at that. Okay, actually, that's gonna be tough. That's very smoky.
This is how you're gonna drop the temperature.
All right,
Stop.
I'm gonna sign off. All right, have a good weekend. Thank you everyone for joining me while I'm smoking these briskets and ribs. Have a good weekend. See ya.